Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be going into the world of malware and getting a Word document and analyzing this Word document and seeing what's going on with it. So if you guys are ready to have some fun, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's get onto the desktop and enjoy. All right, folks. So like I said, what we're going to be doing is analyzing a file and then submitting this incident to a SOC team to do further investigation or block some fun stuff that we're going to be getting into revealing shortly. So watch to the end. And if you guys have any cool tools or techniques or whatever, leave it in the comments. And I'm always learning and enjoy learning some new things. And this is definitely a new process for me. So let's learn together. So what we do, we have here a file that I created, which is in my documents, in my malware tools, and my infected files. And here I have pat file, right? So this file is supposedly a Word document, right? So how can we verify that? Anytime you get a file from a user, maybe this file was submitted through an email, maybe this user says, "Oh, Pat, I have this file. Can you analyze it? Make sure it's safe." So we get this file, we download it into our sandbox environment, into our VM that doesn't have internet or access to that network in order for the rest of the network to get infected. So now we have this application over here that you should have installed in the previous videos, or if you don't have it, just download it now. It's called HXD. So we could take this file, drag it into there, and now this will open, right? So this is pretty much money right here. The first couple of symbols here, or letters and numbers here, is doc file, right? DOCF11E, which stands for doc file. That's how we can determine if it's a Word document. So that gives it away that it is a document that we can, analyze further. And this is the first step into our investigation, right? So we can come over here. Let's open up Sublime Text. Let's go ahead and just do a new one. And for an example, I want to put SOC team notes, right? Because we always want to make notes. So Word document, if I can spell, from user, right? So that's pretty much that. All right, so we can minimize that for now. So the first thing that we did is verify that it's a Word document, right? So the next thing we can do is run it through VirusTotal if you want to do that, or my pre-studio is all messed up, so it's not going to open. But you can open up your pre-studio. I probably have to reinstall it, or you can run this file through Total Virus, right? So now what we're going to do is let's go up to our Rumnex machine. Here we want to make sure SSH is running, because we're going to be copying this Word document to our Rumnex machine, right? So what I want to do first, I want to do SSHD status, just to make sure if it's running. If it's not, we can just do start, right? SSHD space start to start the service. But I already started it. We can see it's active, it's running. We are golden, right? We're listening on port 22 here. So we're good there, right? So if we keep coming down, I took little notes because I wanted to make sure I stayed on track. I'm starting to do that a little more now. So now the next thing we need to do is open up WinSCP. So if you guys aren't familiar, WinSCP is just so we can move data from one server or your local machine to a remote server, right? So I want to go ahead, and the file protocol we're going to be using is SCP. The host, let me go back to my Rumnex. I think it's 130, but I'm going to go ahead and do an ifconfig really quick. And it is 130. So let me see if I can copy this and just paste it over there, just so I don't have to remember. Yes, cool. So the username is Rumnux, and the password is malware. Okay. So now we can see on the right hand side here, we are home Rumnux, Remnex, whatever, however you say that. And here, what we're going to do is I have pat Pat's files. I don't have any files in here because I just made that directory so I can put the malware inside of this directory so we can analyze it from here. So now on my local machine, I want to move this over so I can see it. I'm just going to take this Pat file and drag it into that directory. So now it is on the remote server now. So now if we come back over here and let's go ahead and just do an ls, we can cd to Pat's files and do an ls and we see Pat's document right here, right? Awesome. Now what we can do is we can run a tool that we can see what is going on in this in this file. So it's OLE VBA Pat's file .doc, and then I want to say less, just so it's not as convoluted, or it's just not so much on the screen so I can tab through it. Okay, so now we can look and see, we can see what's going on. So let's come all the way up. Let's start from the top. So we can see that it's an OLE file, and OLE is object linking embedding. So we can see it's a VBA macro. We can see this is not really in the file. We can see an OLE stream, macros VBA. And if you guys don't understand any of this stuff, it's okay. I didn't, several weeks ago, and I was just tinkering with it, messing with it. And I'll put a link in the description, in the description about a utility that you can utilize to learn more. So I need to make a note of that, but I will. So now if we just keep coming down, we have VBA macro, X, whatever, jibber jabber, right? So it's an empty macro. So now we come down, we can see an OLE stream here, macro, jibber jabber, a function, do while, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what this is doing. We can investigate this more later on. And let's see, let's go ahead and hit the space bar. We can tab it down. And let's see what else is cooking. So nothing really here. And let's keep coming down. Let's see here. So the end of the function was right here. So now we can see, let's see, nothing really cooking there. Let's see here, nothing. I'm just analyzing it. So we're analyzing it together. So let's just keep coming all the way down to the end. So here is some interesting stuff. Let me try to see if I can make this a little smaller. Can I make this a little smaller? Yeah, cool. Just so we can fit it on one screen. So we can see here the type, the keyword, and the description. So auto execute, which is opening up the document. It runs when the Word or published document is opened, obviously, right? So suspicious. So what is suspicious? Suspicious. The keyword is create. So it may create file or a system command through WMI. That's interesting. So what we can do here is we can actually take a snippet of this and save that for your evidence, which, you know what, let's do that just to do this together so we can get some evidence together. So let's go ahead and do a little snipperoonie of this. And I want to go ahead and put this off to the side for now. And we'll continue that in a second. So the next one is suspicious, show window. So this may hide the application. So maybe in the executable, it's going to hide the application and do something. So, that's further down the line. Get object. So it may get an OLE object, a running instance, right? So CHR may attempt to obfuscate suspicious strings. All right. So that's interesting. So we can keep coming down, and we took a snippet so I can investigate that later. And if we come down, hex strings, okay, so this is really important. Hex encoded, right? So that were detected, and then base 64 encoded strings were detected. All right, so that gives me some kind of, maybe later on we are going to be tinkering with some kind of base 64. So keep that in the back of your mind. At least I'm getting old, so I need to take snippets, right? So now we can just go ahead and queue this, all right? So now we can make this bigger now, just so it's good to go. So now what we can do is come back to our Windows machine, And what we're going to do now is act on the behavior, see what's going on this machine, on this file, right? So not even, I went back to this. I meant to stay on the Rumnix. So now what we're going to do is run some applications to see how this file, is when we execute it and actually enable the context, what is it doing, right? And this is the fun stuff that I really enjoyed. And I learned so much from other channels, like, I love John Hammond. There's so many other people that know this a lot better. And I've learned so much and I've taken notes, and I figured I just want to deliver this kind of content myself, because they say when you can deliver it, that means you really understand it. It's still a little green to me, but I'm learning, right? So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and run inetsim. So inetsim, what this is doing is going to simulate a network. That's all it's doing. So what you can see is the session ID is 2071, and the listening on my IP address, 192.168.99.130, real time, fake time, etc. Right? So the services is, SMTP, SMTPS, HTTPS, HTTP, FTP, POPs, POP3, blah, 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 FTPS, right? So now, while this is cooking, now we can open up a new tab. Let's open up a new one, and let's make this a lot larger. So the first tab we have is running ISIM. The next one we're going to run is fake DNS. So obviously just exactly what it says. It's going to run a fake DNS server. So yeah, that's pretty much what that's going to do. And the last thing we're going to do is run my favorite, which we're going to do some network forensics or network analyzing the network with Wireshark. So let's do Wireshark. And let's go ahead and run this, right? So make sure your Wireshark is running on the interface that you are using. Like mine is ENS33, so that's fine for me. And I want to go ahead and hit start. Okay, so now this is running. Let's see if I can make, whoop, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Let's go ahead and make this bigger. And let's see if I can make this bigger. Yep. All right, so let's make this big. So we'll let this cook, let this do its thing. And once we are running everything here, let's go back to our Windows machine and open up a few tools over here. All right, so let's minimize that. The next thing we're going to do is on our Windows machine, we're going to open up Process Hacker. So we're going to open this up. Let's just bring this over here. All right, and then we can go ahead and open up Proxmon. And let's bring that here. So we can go File, we can capture events, right? Let's go ahead and capture events, and just to make sure things are cooking, right? So once this is all good, let me see from my notes. We can open up that, and now what we're gonna do, let me see what I have here, is we're gonna go ahead and open up the file, right? So now we're going to go ahead and open up the file. Let's come back to our file and open this up. And to the normal user, right? To the normal user, this is like, okay, this document is available for desktop and laptop version, blah, 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 blah. And now we have this security warning. How many people do you know that doesn't read this? That don't read this? I don't. I always just hit enable, not now, but when I used to be like a sysat, whatever, I was back in the day, I would just hit enable and let it do its thing, right? So now while our tools are running, we can enable. Now we just enable that macro. Now we can go ahead and see, let's go ahead and see what's cooking. So first we can look at process. Let's make this bigger so we can see it bolt. So now in here, we can go ahead and inside of, let's go actually, there's no really interesting processes here. We can just come through here and see. Let's keep looking. There's nothing really too suspicious here. Yeah, there's nothing really cooking here, right? So now let's minimize that. Let's open up process monitor, and what you can do is do a Control T in here, and we can open up the process tree, right? So in the process tree, we can see here, this looks a little different, right? We have some stuff. Let's look through here. And let's see, let's keep coming down. Let's see. Just trying to see in here. Just looking just like you would look. And let's see. Oh, interesting. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and open that again. I want to open that file again. And let's see. I'm just trying to see if I see anything. Interesting. I don't see anything too... All right. Let's just see if anything happened over here. Let's look at our Rumnux. Let's go ahead and come back to the first tab. Nothing really going on there. Let's go look here. Okay, this is good. So in our fake DNS, let's go ahead and just Control C that. We can see that this called out so many different things, right? So the response was calling out to some Microsoft stuff, to some ODC Microsoft Office apps, 911concept.com. What is this? Any schools or whatever schools. All of these websites, right, that it's calling out to. So that's really interesting, right? That's super, super interesting. But let's see if there's anything in Wireshark that we can look at, see if anything looks suspicious in here. We can look at DNS. And we can see, let's just, I'm not going to spend too much time in here, but let's make this bigger. Length. And you can see the router, and you can see different kinds of same kind of thing. So in here, you can see the DNS name, the response, which is the fake DNS query, and the answers, and so on and so forth. So you can look, you can go deeper into the requests and stuff like that. So now let's come back to our our process ID or process monitor. And let's see if we see anything interesting in here that the process, let's see if we can do a little filter. Let's see if we can filter some stuff. Reset. Let's see if we can look at a let's just do that, Control T again. Look at this and see. I want to see something, because they're supposed to call out to a PowerShell script. And I don't see that PowerShell script here. This is really interesting. This is really, really interesting. I want to try to see something. Give me one moment, folks. What I want to try to do is just, let me see something. Let me come back here. Let me go ahead and extract this. And that's fine. Yes to all. Oh, I need to do it with 7-zip. Extract files. My password is, I'm not going to tell you my password. All right. So what I want to do is just here. Now I have this file. I want to open up this file. And I want to see if it runs. Maybe it has to keep the same name. Let's see now. This is why it's good to test things. Oh, did I? Oh, snap. I'm an idiot. I need to capture events. All right, so now it's recording. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. So now let's go ahead and do this again. I don't know if it's just gonna, let's go ahead and see something. There we go. It wasn't recording. So see, it's always a learning process. So now we have this executable here, which is PowerShell.exe. And now if we come down here, we can see, if you remember from when we were looking at it, it said hidden, right? So the hidden, and then it was encoded with this. Let's go ahead and right click copy. Let's go ahead and throw this into our notes. Let's make this a little smaller. All right, so this is the base 64, right, encoded. So with this, now we can start investigating more into our incident, right? So now what we're going to do is take this. We're going to go out to CyberChef. Oh, I already, because I tested it. That's why I was like, oh man, why isn't it working? Because I did test it. Let's go up to CyberChef and be patient. Okay, so now let's go ahead and paste that here. And now you can see, let me see, make sure you can see my everything. But you can see the input. Let me make this a little smaller maybe. So you can see the input, maybe that's too small. Input and then output, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go from base 64. Let's go ahead and base 64 and let's bring that in here. And we can see here, let's bring this over a little bit. We can see in here, we can see some stuff that looks a little interesting, like exe right here. We can see, we can drill down. So this is the awesome thing about CyberChef. Let's bring this over here. And the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add null. So let's do null. Yes, I do have notes on this, because if I don't have notes, I'm going to forget. So now, if we bring this over now, we can see that now this is making a little more sense, right? Obviously my big head's in the way and I'm sorry about that, but we can see that it's making more sense. We can make some little adjustments. We can have some websites, some net web client. We have objects. We have websites, which we saw in our request, right? So we can take this even a step further, right? I have notes, like I said. Now what we can do is add splits. So let's go ahead and split, S-P-L-I-T. We can add a split, and we can add a semicolon, right? And now we even get further, right? We can come here, we can see further information, and that's making a little more sense, right? We can even take that a step further because we have asterisks and all that stuff. So now we can do another split and do asterisk, right? Let's do that. Right, so now we can even get a little, further into this file. This is pretty cool. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. So now we can see, okay, now it's making more sense. These are some of the websites that it's calling. And we can even go even further, right? So now, let's make this a little smaller. And the next thing we do, since it's URLs, since we know it's URLs, we can do expression, regular expression, or regular expression. And down here we can do URL, right? So in the URL and down here, let's make this probably a little smaller. And the output match, we can make this list matches. And now look at that. Now you can see this. This is super, super cool. Now we have our, let's go ahead and copy this for our notes. So now this is what we can send to SOC team, right? If I can spell. But we're not going to send this because these might be malicious links, right? So, and this is fun stuff because, you know, you can probably learn this. I think you can learn this on Try Hack Me as well. So the next thing we're going to do is do a, what do you call it? Defang, whatever, defang URL, right? So now this is going to say, okay, now this is not clickable. So now we're going to say, what, didn't copy? Let's go ahead and try to copy that again. And now you can send this over to the SOC team and say, hey folks, can you please check this out, right? And that's pretty much concludes this video. Sorry for the little hiccup that I forgot to run, you know, the capture for the Procmon. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this informative. It's super cool. More stuff to come, but this is just analyzing this Word document and showcasing the fact that malware and all this stuff can be in just a Word document. So be careful, stay safe out there. And if you liked it, please like it, subscribe, and share the channel. Thank you.